Good morning, everybody. I see everybody already in the chat. I'm excited for today. I cannot wait. We get to paint today, and I love doing watercolors. And if you didn't bring watercolors, if you don't have watercolors on you, that's totally okay. We can, you can do most of the craft today without watercolors, which is cool. And we'll be able to do some inking, and so if you don't have like a quill and ink, you could still use like a pen and ink, or like a marker and stuff, so don't even worry about it. All right. Galaxy Master 5987, the stream ended. What are you talking about? Let me know if you can still see me. It looks like it's still on from my end, but let me know. Blake, I love your cat, Rogan. Hi, Rogan. I did think you spelled it Rogaine for a second there, but I realized that it was Rogan instead. Who is Rogan named after? That's what I want to know. Let me know in the live chat. Hi, everybody. Hi, Camilla. Hi, Mateo. Hi, Zoe. I'm glad you guys are all making it here. Lillian's here. Aiden's here. Cool. Who else? All right. Okay, everybody's popping in right now. Cool. All right, you're back. Great. Awesome. Let's get started. Now, today, we're going to go over our schedule like we usually do. And so, today we have our quote of the day. Then we're going to do our art review. Then we're going to set up and ink our picture. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Then we're going to take a karate break, and we're going to do some painting and framing, and then we're going to do our challenge of the day, then our morning mail, and then I'll send you guys off. Okay, now, I hope you guys are all ready to start painting. Here we have Edgar Degas. He is one of my favorite painters. This is a picture that he did of himself, so it's a self-portrait again. And he said, "Painting is easy when you don't know how, but very difficult when you do. Only when you no longer know what you are doing, do you, the painter, do good things." So one more time. He said, "Painting is easy when you don't know how, but very difficult when you do. Only when you no longer know what you are doing, do you, the painter, do good things." Now, if you don't have paint, don't worry about it. You could still use your regular colors. But if you have watercolors, now would be a cool day to try them out with me. All right. Good morning, Leslie and Glory. I'm glad you guys are here. Hi. So with this quote from Edgar Degas, I wanted us to take a second to think about, also before we get to the thinking part, let's just look at his painting of the ballerinas. He was famous for drawing ballerinas, but not only when they were on the stage and performing, but he also liked to draw them while they were preparing for and like practicing and rehearsing in the studio before they were all like dressed up, and because he felt like that was showing like a behind the scenes kind of footage of what was going on at the time, instead of just seeing the show that everybody else saw. So Degas definitely seemed like the type of person who liked to see how things were made and not the perfect parts of things, because when you're practicing, it's not going to look perfect yet. It's only when you're like putting on a show that you try to make everything as flawless as possible. So along with this quote, it seems like he really wants us to embrace the fact that like when we're practicing and when we're learning, it's not always going to be perfect. So I want everybody to close your eyes, take a deep breath in, breathe out. All right, and I want you to keep on doing that. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. And as we take a moment to breathe, I want you to embrace this feeling that you can feel right now, probably, of not knowing what you are doing. I've had this feeling a lot, even actually doing this live stream. I'm pretty new to this, and there's a lot of it that I don't know, and there's a lot of like learning that has to go and that is involved with making this work. But you guys have been so supportive, which I appreciate. Thank you so much. And yeah, there's a kind of an excitement to learning how to do something new for the first time and not knowing how it's gonna go. Like you guys saw, there's been a lot of different changes and stuff, especially with everything going on in the world right now. And so even without even as much as we can prepare, sometimes things don't go the way that we want them to. And I think that stresses a lot of people out. But there's another way to look at it, where you can look at the possibility and the excitement of that moment, of not knowing how things are going to turn out. Because yes, they might turn out bad, but they also might turn out really cool and better than you could have ever expected or planned for. And I think more often than not, that can be the result if we're open to that. So while you're breathing in and out, like what Edgar was getting at, I want you to try to welcome this feeling of not knowing how this art is going to turn out that we're going to make today. And I want you to embrace it with open arms and feel that excitement and that possibility of not knowing what to expect next. Because for right now, we're going to draw. All right, now everybody open your eyes and let's get started. So before we move on to our drawing, we're going to do our art review from art submissions from yesterday's episode. Okay, so we have this one right here by Traden. And let me just, here we go, so you guys can see his name. Traden G. I believe this was you and not Cohen. Let me know in the comments, Joyce, if this is, I see you guys are here. Let me know if I got that right. I think this is Traden style. But we also have, so Traden, obviously this is Totoro, and this is a really cool drawing of it. And I like how he colored it in too, and the expression is on point. And the detail of the nails too, and the ears, very nicely done. Let's see. Oh, I missed you too, Glory. And Rogan. Oh, it was Cohen. Okay, I'm sorry, Cohen. Cohen did this picture of Totoro. And also, Rogan lived with his grandparents, and I love animals that are weird. I think they're the funniest kind of animals. All right. Rogan sounds like a weird cat. I like that. All right. We also have Mateo G. drew this optical illusion from yesterday's episode. And I think it's really cool because you kind of like, yeah, Camilla, I agree. These are really cool. And the stairs one is really awesome too. Okay. Now we also have some other submissions from Blaine and Sarah, which these were our 2-point perspective, our week of doing the 2-point perspective drawings. And I think these are really cool. I like how Blaine added all the colors to his, and you made the road purple, which I love too. I love using different colors for things. We're going to look at another artist that did a similar thing, where he picked colors for things that weren't the real colors of them. And Sarah, I love the sketchiness. It reminds me of like an old Picasso sketch. If you look up Pablo Picasso's sketches in his sketchbook, his look very similar to that too, where it just look like it's very scribbly, very like rough. You can see that he like worked it with his hands too, which is really cool. All right, and I love how supportive you guys are all being to everybody. That warms my heart. Okay. Now, if you guys wanted to, you can submit your drawings to noahfontana@gmail.com, and I would love to share them with everybody else. So definitely send them to me. You could also send them to me via Instagram, and you could see my my screen at the bottom right there. That's at Teacher Noah, and you can send them to me, and then you can watch them from there. Also, you can follow the CTN Burbank, and if you want, you could hashtag your pictures or your posts CTN Mornings, and then I'll be able to see them all at once. If you look up the hashtag right now, you can see a bunch of like my other posts that I made about it too. Okay. I'm glad you guys had fun with it. All right. Now, let's get up to our setup and inking. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to change cameras, and we're going to switch to my phone camera right here. 1 second. Cool. All right. Now, here's my camera with my setup right now. Oh, yes, I did, Zoe. I'm going to show you yours later, though. Okay? Just wait for that. I did get it, though. All right, so I'm going to teach you guys how to... Oh, before we go on to this, actually, here. Let's go back to our slides. Now, this is the picture that we're going to try to draw today. Okay? Now, there's a color version of it, so we're going to color it later. But first, we're going to do the black and white version. Okay? If you guys want to, you can still follow the steps of what I'm doing, but you don't have to draw this exact picture. I'm just going to use this as an example so we all know what we're drawing. So this is the drawing that I'm going to do. If you guys want, you can follow the steps, but just change up what you want to draw. Okay, now we can go back to my camera here. All right, so for this picture, let me move some of my things. Okay. Now, first off, what we're going to do is we're going to measure the size of the frame that we want to work on. Okay, so I have my ruler here. Now, I'm going to choose to do a 4x6 because that's the size of most. That's the size of a lot of different frames. And if you're going to try to frame it later, this will fit in very nicely. All right, so this is going to be 4x6. And if you guys want to, you can follow along with a ruler too, or just with a straight line of like another pencil or a piece of paper, and you can trace that. Okay, let's see. We're going to try to make this one 4x6. So right here. Hold on a second. I'm not using the right side. Okay, there we go. And 6 is right here. And now to do 4, let's line it up, right? So the right here is on 4 on the ruler. And make sure it's straight along the edge. So this side looks like it's as far apart from the edge of the paper as this side. Okay. I'm going to do this side too, which is also going to be 4. So the left and right sides are going to be 4 inches, and the top and bottom sides are going to be 6 inches. So one more. This should connect just right. What I like about this ruler is that it's got these edges, so that it's really easy to hold. If you look at the top, see. So it's really easy to hold when you want to hold it down. If you don't, I would suggest spreading your fingers apart like that, and then that way it doesn't slide too much. All right. Now, if we want, we can also add a little frame around this painting, so that way we can have a little bit of wiggle room, and it gives it a nice little white outline. So let's do that. Let's say 1/4 of an inch. So to do that, I'm going to draw a little tick mark here, and 1/4 of an inch here. And now when I connect these two dots, there we go. I'm going to do the same thing to each side. I kind of always like this part of drawing because it's very simple. It's very, you don't really have to think too much. It's very just technical work. And sometimes it's a nice break from drawing where you have to use your brain a lot. You have to think about the kind of colors you want to use and all of that. And while I like that part a lot, this is a nice break from that. I think it's always good to take breaks from even things that you like, just because you don't want to overdo it. There we go. And there we go. Cool. Okay, now I'm going to put my ruler away for now because we don't need it. And here we have our little frame. Okay. So if you guys are following along, you want to do Calvin Hobbs, this is how I'm going to start. We're going to start by sketching it in. Let's see. I'm looking at the picture. Kind of doing it really light, really loose. This is going to be the stream. The reason I like doing him is, one, because Bill Watterson is such a master at doing watercolors. And two, it's just got such a fun life about him. Oh, Hobbs' back is a little more curved forwards like this. There we go, just loosely kind of getting in the shapes. That way I'm trying to figure out where everybody's going to be standing in relation to the paper, and the edges of the paper. Okay. Hi Mateo, how are you doing? Okay, let's see, we got a tree here. Now again, this is all stuff that you guys can do if you just have paper and a pencil and a ruler. Even if you don't have a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you can just use the side of a pencil. Like, so if I wanted to measure this, I can go like this. Measure it right up to here at that point, and then hold it with my finger wherever I want it to go. So let's say I wanted to measure these sides. I could just measure like that, and then where the edge of this right here and the tip of my fingers, that's going to be the edge of the side. So I can measure it and mark it like that. Okay, let's see. And at this beginning stage, it's real easy to edit things and change things. So if you notice that something looks a little off, you can just draw right over and change it. And don't draw it even too dark, because we're going to still erase all these lines that we're drawing right now. These we're not going to keep because we're going to ink over it. I love too about Calvin Hobbs that he makes the characters look so three-dimensional. They don't just feel like flat characters on the page. He really has them going out and adventuring. Okay. Let's see if I can zoom in too. There we go. Now you guys can see how I'm drawing too, a little bit better. Okay, it's looking pretty good, I think. Definitely tell it's Calvin and Hobbs. all fun in their adventure. Okay, here we go. Let me use this camera. All right, how are you guys looking? Okay, here I'm gonna show back the picture. Okay, can you guys see it better now like that when I zoomed in the camera? I just noticed your comment. If you want, let me see if I can send the picture to the group chat. I can't upload the picture right now, so you are gonna have to follow along with what I'm doing. Sorry about that. Okay. You can't really see too much of Calvin's face, but that's okay. That's just how it looks in the picture. And did you guys ever notice that Calvin has stripes on his shirt too, just like Hobbs has stripes, but it's because he's a tiger? Okay. Now we have a general idea for where everything else is going to go. Let me just block in some more shapes like this, the bushes. And now I'm not trying to do an exact copy of what Bill Watterson did, because we're just going to use it as inspiration. I'm going to follow it along pretty closely, but I'm not going to worry too much if it doesn't look exactly like what he did. I'm going to let my own style kind of show through a little bit. So while you guys do it too, you guys can let your own style shine through as well. So if you want to change up the style a little bit, by all means, definitely do that. What we're really trying to learn is more of the process and how Bill Watterson might have drawn this. And he definitely probably sketched this out on paper. Definitely, probably. There we go. Okay. I think we sketched it out quite good right now. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the next part. Now this part is really cool because we have, I'm going to use this calligraphy ink, or you could even use this Pro Black ink, or you can use this pen, and I believe this is, here, check this pen out, ready? Look at that tip. Very cool. If you look at the side right here. There we go. Let me make sure you guys here. I'm going to click back to our slide right here, because I think my phone stopped for a second. There we go. Okay, cool. So you can also use this brush, like I was showing you. It's nice for getting those rough outlines. And you can also use just a regular pen or like a Sharpie kind of pen. That works too. But I want to show you guys something new. So here we go. Let's try this out. I'm just gonna shake the pen, shake the ink. Here we go. There we go. Look at all that ink. I love it. Okay. Now I have my rag right here. Okay, now this I love because this is a very traditional way of painting. So you just dip, and get rid of the bubbles. You dip your pen in the ink, like that. Let's test it out a little bit right here. I'm going to zoom in for a second. There we go. I think you have to really dip it in deep. Okay, there we go. And usually it takes us a couple seconds for it to really like get the flow going well. There we go, we're getting there. Now this can get really messy really quick, so keep on trying even though it might get messy. Okay. I'm going to try this other ink. Actually, I'm going to shake this one up a little bit more. Okay. Let's wipe this guy off. Let's try a different one. And this is part of being an artist, is that you have to, like we were talking about earlier, you have to adapt, you don't know where it's going to go. These inks tend to dry out pretty quickly if you don't use them a lot. Oof, this is very dry. I think we're better off with the calligraphy ink, actually. Okay, how are you guys doing? Are you guys able to draw these characters? There we go. Okay, a little bit. Now the thing with this is that you always have to re-dip your brush a bunch of times. Okay, there we go. I think we're... This is why we give ourselves a nice little frame. That way we know how much room we have to work with. I also have another pen. Let's try that one for a second. Maybe this one is just a little too dirty. The pen might be a little too dirty. I have this little guy right here. There we go. Let's try him. Yeah, that already seems to be working much better. Okay, that's good enough for right now. Let's start inking Calvin Hobbs. So I just go over it like this. And what I like about this little brush, you can get lots of like really great little details and little nuanced lines. Okay, typically these should be flowing a little bit better. I think it's because my ink is a little bit old, and that's why normally they wouldn't cause this much trouble. Just in case you guys were considering buying one and then you're like, whoa, no way. This looks like a lot of work. Usually they're really easy. Okay. Yeah. The ink does not look like the best. Okay. We're going to switch to a pen right here. We're just going to ink over it. Like this. Okay. We're going to take a break soon, but for right now, let's just see if we can ink the characters in. All right. Oh, nice. You're doing Toothless. Very cool. And a deer by the stream. Oh, if you're on Procreate. Okay, good question. If you're on Procreate, they have a whole inking brush section. And you can use any of those. I usually like the dry brush. I believe it's called the dry ink or the dry brush. But yeah, that'll work too. And like you saw what I'm doing like right here in person, I am trying out a bunch of different brushes. So you guys can definitely try out a bunch of different brushes too. There we go. If you feel like one isn't doing what you want it to do, by all means, you can switch it up. Oh, for the watercolor. Oh, okay, gotcha. Let me see. Oh yeah, no, the scratchiness of the brush is definitely not everybody's favorite. I personally kind of like it though. It just reminds me of all the projects I've been able to do with the quill ink. For the watercolors, I'm going to pull up Procreate when we get to that point, so I'll show you then. There's also an artist called Max Olti, I think, and he sells a bunch of watercolor brushes, and they're fairly cheap for how many you get. You can get a good, let me look them up right now. Okay. Okay, yeah, if you go to maxpacks.art, and I'm going to send a link in the chat. Let me see. One second. There we go. All right. So, Gabrielle, if you check that link out, or you can check it out and see all the different brushes and the different groups that he has. I think if you go all the way to the bottom, you might be able to find the cheaper ones and the less newer ones. But I bought the watercolor pack that I think is the newest one that he just released. because I was looking for some watercolor brushes for Procreate, and they are fantastic. They really look like real watercolors. So I would suggest those if you're looking to buy. If you're looking just to use, I'm not sure if Procreate comes with watercolor brushes. I know they come with a lot of painting brushes. There we go. Also, what's cool with doing the pencil and then the ink is that it's a lot easier to draw when you can just draw over your own tracing. Let me zoom out again. Hi, Callista. And what I love about Bill Watterson's drawings is that they're all very like natural looking. Like you can see the lines and the art. They don't look like just like a perfected, clean illustration. You can see the actual like brush strokes, which I feel like just is very artistic looking and painterly. I was actually looking through when I was trying to pick a good picture for us to use, and I found somebody that wasn't Bill Watterson that had done a Calvin Hobbs picture, and that was how I was able to tell that it wasn't him, was that it looked too clean, like it looked too perfected and polished, and I know Bill Watterson's style well enough now that I know that that's not really what he goes for with his pictures. He tries to go for a more like natural, he wants you to see the line works and the scratchiness of the brushstrokes. Yeah, if you want to check out that website that I linked, the maxpacks.art, that's a really good one, Gabriella, for watercolor brushes or just any brushes in general. Now let's try this brush. This brush is also kind of running out of ink because I don't use it a lot. I mean, I did use it a lot, and that's why I ran out, but yeah, there we go. And this is actually more to the brush that Bill Watterson used when he was inking. I think he actually used like a paintbrush instead of just using like a quill and ink for the pen work, which is kind of cool. That's what gives it that like raw, natural, almost like barky texture. Looking good. Okay, here we go. Okay. Cool. We're taking a lot of time on this. We're actually going to stop right here. I think that's good. And we're going to move on. We're going to take a quick break. Karate break. Let's just stretch for a bit. Here we go. Okay. Now, shake out your hands. Stretch your back. Make sure you're sitting straight up. Stretch your hands like this. Good. Stretch your hands like that. Stretch your arms across your body. There we go. Good. If you need to twist your back, I can only twist a little bit so much here, but you guys can probably twist more. If you want to get up, walk around. Oh, nice. Papermate felt tip. I'm excited to see how that looks. And nod your head back and forth. Stretch it, stretch it, stretch it. There you go. Shake it off. Okay, we're going to do a short break today. If you guys need to get up, get something to drink, I have my cup of mango juice right here. I'm going to need to wait in a line at Trader Joe's today, though, to get some more. All right. Now we're going to get onto the painting and framing. So this is what our final picture is going to hopefully look like. So if we go back to our, there we go, drawing right here. We're going to do a new thing. We're going to tape, oh, hold on a second. Oops, there we go. What we're going to do next is we're going to tape. So if you can have some tape, I use this tape. This is actually wall safe tape, so it's a little bit easier to take off. But if you guys have like masking tape, that'll work too. Okay. So we're just tape along the edges. Let's see. And that way we can keep this clean frame when we watercolor. You could also use like masking tape works good too, or painter's tape is obviously the way to go because that's actual for painting. Okay. On one last side. Cool. Here we go. Oops. Okay. Cool. Now I'm going to lightly erase over the drawing, the parts that we have already inked over. I'm just going to be careful. I'm going to test it out a little bit in little areas just to make sure that it's not smearing anywhere, because sometimes the ink isn't fully dry. There we go. There's some areas I'm going to leave with the drawing just because I'm just going to lightly go over it just so I have it as a guideline. A guideline for the watercolors, that is. There we go. Now I have this, oops, I have this brush that I use. I forget what it's for. I think it's a shoe brush, but it works really good for getting all these eraser shavings off without actually smudging my ink drawing at all. So I use this brush. It's really good. And I like the feel of the wood. Okay. All right. Now time to watercolor. Oh, right before we watercolor, actually, I wanted to show you guys one more tool that I use. It's this. It's called masking fluid. Let me see if I can show you. There you go. Okay. Now, after you give it a good shake, open it up. Now what this is, this basically acts as glue. Now, this is also a little old, so I'm hoping. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to paint right over our main characters. Whew, that stinks too. Just like that. Now don't worry, this is actually all going to be able to come off really easily. Masking fluid is used to mask certain areas of your drawing that you don't want to get color right away. Here we go. So I'm blocking off these areas because I don't want them to get colored, but I do want to color the background around them. So instead of me trying to get that gradient and get that color, and have to worry about not crossing lines, because with watercolors you can't really erase, I'm just going to use this masking fluid right here, and that should do the trick. And then once we're done, you'll see you can just erase the masking fluid. It comes right off, almost like glue. Okay. There we go. Now, if you don't have masking fluid, totally not a problem. But if you do, now you know how to use it. Or if it looks like something that you would want to use, then you can use that too. Okay. So I have my watercolor brush. This is the one that's filled up with water, so all you have to do is take off the top after you filled it up with water, and we can dip it in our watercolors. Let me see. There we go. Now you guys can see everything. Okay. Let's start with the light colors. So we're going to start with like this light green color that we have on the grass. It's like a yellowish green color. Here we go. Let's add a little bit more green to it. And as you can see, I'm going right over the masking fluid. I'm going to let it dry a little bit more though before I go over it anymore. And what I love about Bill Watterson's drawings too is that he has such a good eye for like seasons and capturing the feeling of a different season. It's really cool. When he draws wintertime, it really feels like the colors that he uses, even though they're like purples and reds sometimes, they really feel like that season of winter, or what it feels like. And when he uses these like yellowish summer green colors, it really feels like summer. Okay. There we go. Now if you're just following along with markers, that's totally fine too. You can still do the same thing and color in over your ink drawing. And you can still kind of get an idea for the process. Now as we get closer to the foreground, we're going to make the colors a little bit darker so they kind of like get blended in. These ones here, let's use the brown color. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you guys can see color a little bit better, but still see what I'm mixing to get these colors. And again, just like Degas, if you don't know what you're doing at all, that's good. That's how you make a good piece of artwork. If you know what you're doing, then you probably have already done it before, and then why bother doing it again, honestly? Alright, and now if you see, like, now I could paint over this edge right here, but yet this isn't going to keep it because it's the tape. So that's why the tape is useful. And the tape might even bleed through, it might even bleed onto the tape a little bit. It's totally okay. That's why we have this whiteout color. So we can use this whiteout bleed-proof white. We can always use that too. All right, we're coming up on time actually, so I'm going to speed this one up a little bit. I'm going to finish this water and then I'm going to move on to Calvin and Hobbs, the stars of the show. Okay, I'm going to let it dry for half a second more and then we're going to try to erase it off and see if that's enough time. We will see though. Get the background a little bit more colored. And you see how I'm using different kinds of ways to paint. Like in some areas, I am using the tip of the brush. In other areas, I'm going to use the front of the brush. All right, let's see. It might. Here we go. It's coming sort of right off. You can even peel with your finger like that. I'll zoom in so you guys can really see. Some people think that this is super satisfying. Some people not so much. There we go. Once we remove all the masking fluid, now we can paint over this area again. You just get those little pieces off. There we go, like that. I think that's all the pieces. Now again, this is a pretty quick job. Normally I would take a lot longer to do all that stuff and be a little bit more careful with it. But for right now, we're just going to do a quick experiment. So I remember one time in the comics, Calvin says that Hobbs is orange. And he's like, I think I'm more of like a woody ochre color, I think is what he says. So I've always remembered that, or have remembered that. So we're going to make his orange a little bit woody, a little bit less vibrant like that. Okay, Calvin's shirt is obviously bright red. All right, let's see if we can beat the clock here. We got 5 more minutes. Yes, this is a watercolor pen. Sorry, I didn't notice your comment. Yeah, this is a watercolor pen. These are really cheap. You can buy them off of Amazon. You can get a whole pack, like a pack of 5 of them for like $10 or something, or like $8, something crazy. I love these. This little kit that I have right here. This kit is a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it, I think. And you can. I've always been able to find them while they're on sale, and so you can get them for pretty cheap too. And just give Calvin a quick skin color. Let's test it out right here. Yeah, that's what I thought. A little bit too pink. That works. And voila, now we have our Calvin Hobbs little watercolor piece. Okay. Now, I hope you guys had fun doing that coloring. I had a lot of fun. I always love doing watercolors. If we go back to it right here, it's just a lot of fun. Let me see if it looks better with the flash on too. Okay, we're not going to do that. Yeah. Yeah, I always have fun doing watercolors. They're just like very fluid and relaxing to do. I love the whole process of doing the inks and having like your hands get ink on it. I love all of that stuff, and I love working with the materials and the tools. So maybe you guys like that too. Now back to our slides. This is what we were trying to paint. And our challenge of the day is to paint a portrait of somebody you know and then gift it to them. Now, if you don't want to do a portrait of them, you can still do a watercolor painting of them. What I wanted to show you guys too is I have a little frame like this. And what you'd have to do is, all you'd have to do is cut it out. This is a 4x6 frame. And so all you have to do is cut it out. Maybe I'll post a picture on Instagram later. You guys can see the final, what it looks like in the frame. And then obviously don't forget to like sign your piece if you're going to do that. Our morning mail of the day comes from Zoe. Zoe did a fantastic job yesterday when we were doing our optical illusions. And Zoe said, "Thank you for another great class. Yet again, I had a great time. I'm so excited for all the classes to come. I've been loving these classes, and I want to do more of your other classes." Thank you, Zoe. I'm so happy that you're able to take these classes now. Even with the staying home and everything, we found a way. This is a really great picture, too, that you did. This was the optical illusion challenge that we did where MC Escher was holding the sphere, a glass ball, and you're drawing like the reflection of yourself in it, and I love this. It looks great. I could definitely tell that it's you too, I think. Nice job. Cool. All right, we're almost done, so let me just give you a quick few comments. If you guys think of something that you want to draw next week for Monday, you're going to see what we're going to do in just a second for next Tuesday. But if you guys have any suggestions, just leave them in the comments. Can you put them in the comments of the YouTube video, though? That way you guys can all thumbs up if you see somebody else commented something that you want to draw, and then I can see which ones are like the most popular ones. If you do it in the live chat, it's a little bit harder for me to see, and there's more of a chance that I might miss them. So, okay, hold on a second. I might do a giveaway for the drawing. We'll see about that. The kit that I'm using here, let me switch back to my camera, is right here. Winsor Newton. There we go. There we go. It's a great kit. I really like it. It comes with all these different watercolors, and then even comes with this watercolor brush, which if you open it like that, voila, you have this nice little brush that you can paint with. Now, I actually don't use these brushes that they come with, so that's why it looks so clean, because I stick with these brushes because these brushes are more portable. With the ones that comes in the kit, you'd have to bring a cup of water or a bottle of water. I don't like that. I like to be able to just paint on the fly, so that's why I have these brushes like that. Yeah, but Winsor Newton is a kit. Winsor Newton is a really good by Mateo. Winsor Newton is a good brand. They're definitely quality, and they're definitely a little bit pricier than the regular kits. So I would say start off with like a more inexpensive watercolor kit. I used the one that I think my mom had given me in like middle school with just the regular watercolors, and if you know how to mix the colors together like I was showing you a little bit, you can actually get a lot of good use out of that one. And those are like the cheap like ones you get at like any arts and crafts store. And I used those up until I think like freshman or sophomore year in college, and then finally one of my professors was like, you could use, there are better kits to use, and and I think I took a color theory class, and we had to try out all these different watercolors, and I really like the Winsor Newton one, so I stick with these now, Winsor Newton, but yeah, that's what I would suggest. So yeah, comment below what you guys would want to draw. Submit your drawings to noahfontana@gmail.com to be featured on our Tuesday episode that's coming up next. And if you want to help support us, we have a donation thing now that you can just go and look in the bio of this video, and you can just click the link, and you can send however much you want to donate. And I really appreciate that, because then that would enable me to keep on doing these, because right now I'm doing them for free, and I would like to keep on doing them for free. Don't forget to thumbs up the video and subscribe to the CTN channel so you don't miss any of the videos. But if you do miss one of the videos, you can always go back into the playlist of Teacher Noah Morning Cartooning, and you can watch all of the videos that we've done so far. This is episode 9. On Tuesday we do episode 10, and that is pretty awesome because that means we've done 10 episodes. And next Tuesday we're going to do hands, expressions, and eggs, ? So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Have a good one. Bye.